Jayom Vishnupad Paramahamsa Paribhajakacharatya Astatarasata Srimad His Divine Grace Sri Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Itinamine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Prachadine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paschatya Desatadine Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasad Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Some devotees just arrived. Welcome. You came just in time to get a little warm up before our 64 round day. Congratulations. So this is a short class, short and sweet, right? And the plan is the intention of taking shelter, and this is a phrase that's an essential phrase for all of our Gaudiya Vaishnavas, Sharanagati. And one of our acharyas that has written extensively and uses this language, Sharanagati and Sharanapati, a lot in his writing is Bhaktivinoda Thakur. So one of the writings, of course, there's all of his poems, songs, each of the limbs of surrender, songs elaborating on each of them, but this is a separate writing. Sankalpa Pratigya, a solemn vow driven and guided by the heart's profound intention of taking shelter. That's a nice introduction. So there we go. A nice photograph of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, excuse me. And we can say his pranam mantra together. Namo Bhaktivinodaya Sachit Anandanamine Gaura Shakti Sarupaya Rupanuga Varayate. I offer my respectful obeisances unto Chat Ananda Bhaktivinod, who is transcendental energy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He is a strict follower of the Goswamis, headed by Srila Rupa. Beautiful pranam mantra. And the topic is these 6 limbs of surrender. And here they are. Anukulyasya sankalpa pratikulyasya varjanam ashikshititi vishvaso goptritve varanam tata atma nikshepa karpanye shadvidha sharanagati. There's 6. So starting with anukulyasya sankalpa. So there's emphasis on this phrase sankalpa. Accept things favorable for devotional service. Pratikulyasya varjanam, completely reject those things unfavorable for devotional service. Consider rakshishititi vishvaso, consider with strong conviction Vishvasa, with strong conviction that Krishna will protect me. Goptritve Varanam Tata. Varanam indicates acceptance, very similar in the Chaitanya Charitamrita reference. Varanam and Sankalpa are given the same meaning, acceptance. Accepting the Supreme Personality of Godhead as my provider and protector, my maintainer. Atmanikshepa, full self-surrender. Karpanye. There must be a good reason why Karpanye comes last, because in many lists, Karpanye comes first. It's humility, because how can you go anything further without humility? But Karpanye, maybe it's the meter of the verse. Karpanye. Shadvidha, Sharanagati. So it starts with purpose. We're going to hear this word purpose at the very end, so remember it now because there's a connection between the beginning and the end. And to help us achieve a purpose, there's three. There's the mind, and you consider with the mind things favorable, things unfavorable. The vikalpa, some things through the mind's discernment, they're rejected, and some things are accepted. And then, in addition, there's some intention. You consider options amongst those are to be accepted, and with decision on the one hand, doubt on the other side. This is within this essay that Bhaktivinoda Thakur has written. Then comes select, make some determination. Sequence. It's the function of intellect to assist in the activity of surrender in stages. Now, combine the first two, purpose and intention, and then a selection. So there's a nice story that is narrated in this connection, and many of you are familiar with the story. You'll know the story as soon as I show you the picture. It's a once upon a time story. Once upon a time, there was a Brahmana, and he was very poor, and at the same time, he liked deity worship, but he wasn't so comfortable being able to offer only poverty-stricken level of service. And one fine day, he was attending a scripture class. And when that scripture class, he heard the different methods of worshiping the deity. And one of those methods he heard was one can worship the deity in one's mind. So that's all he needed. He went in meditation within his mind. He worshiped his deity. And so in his mind, he gathered the finest cloth and ornaments and ingredients for cooking and this and that and bathing from sacred waters and holy places, and daily with genuine bhakti, with that purpose and intention, he did his puja in his mind. And you know the story. And the story continues. One fine day, he was making sweet rice. And one of the rules in making sweet rice is you serve it cold, not hot. So he was becoming a little impatient to serve the sweet rice, so he stuck his finger in the sweet rice to see if it was cool enough yet. And when he stuck his finger in the sweet rice in meditation, his finger burned. And his meditation broke, and he looked at his finger, and his finger was burned. In his meditation, he was meditating, but his finger burned. And he was surprised, to say the least. And even more surprised when, as you see in the background, a Vaikuntha Vimana descended, invited him to come on the Vimana, and off they went to the spiritual world to serve eternally the deity that he was worshiping within his mind. So Krishna is very kind. And if one's intention and purpose is to serve the Supreme Lord, of course, if you can serve in other ways than just serve in your mind, that's best. But in his case, because he was so poor, he didn't have the capacity. So in that case, you can serve, you can chant. Supposing this question came up, supposing somebody is very ill, chant in your mind. If you can't chant in your mind, then you're asleep. But if you're not asleep, chant, even in your mind, or whatever the circumstances that you can within your capacity. So the Sharanagati idea is the personality of Godhead is accepting the intention. We had this discussion during our Chinese national holiday topic that the personality of God, Ravana or a non-devotee person only sees the behavior, and the devotee sees the intention behind behavior. And of course, Krishna sees everything, but his acceptance of what we do is very focused upon the intention behind. So it has everything to do with offense and chanting, and Maharaj was discussing it very nicely this morning. So striving to come to the stage is the path of Shuddhanam. One may not be at the pure stage yet, but the intention is everything. That the personality of Godhead will then help you achieve what your destination is. We're going to hear again towards the very end this statement of purpose. As strong as your purpose is, the more quickly you'll achieve the goal. Krishna will help. It's not your help, your effort, but your effort and Krishna's mercy, the goal can most swiftly be reached, whatever your limitations are. The alignment message, this is a teenager made this image for me. It's body, mind, and words. Those are ways in which we can render service. And the ideal is there's alignment with all three, towards alignment towards what? So look, Krishna is going to appear. Towards pleasing Krishna, because that's devotional service. And that's the type of chanting we should do. That is the chanting that the relationship is restored. The intention is to be present in that relationship, although it's long been forgotten and it's easy to lapse into prior habits of distraction and so forth. But by practice with body, mind, and words in proper alignment, then that's the path. It's recommended. Now the topic is the intention of taking shelter. And this is a little graphic. Sometimes we perform our devotional service, we act from the platform of the mind, sometimes from the heart, and we want to move more to the heart. And when we do move more towards the heart, then there's better alignment with the mind, with the heart. In our relationship with Krishna, we choose to act and serve from the heart while directing our mind to Him. It's not automatic, but bhakti is gives intelligence. Bhakti gives discernment. Bhakti gives power to for the introspective devotee to evaluate how 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 strong and how much fidelity is there in our purpose, as opposed to mechanical or complacent or negligent activities, because our focus is the japa retreat and focus is on chanting. It's a reasonable assumption we're all less than perfect. And that means there's a gap between where we are and where we want to go. And that big gap can be really big and can be even how big, however big it is, we want to reach a goal. And it's not a fruitive goal, it's a devotional goal, because we can't reach a devotional goal just on the strength of our effort. But when the sincerity is there and the purpose is there and it's genuine, then Krishna will provide the intelligence slowly, slowly to reach the goal. Then there's another nice understanding. There are different views on this particular point. However, our Gaudiya Vaishnava picture is that the surrender or acting from the heart and then aligning the heart with the intelligence and the mind. It's an ongoing journey. It's not a once upon a time I decided, you know what, I'm going to chant attentively. I remember long ago, one devotee, I won't mention the devotee's name, Prabhupada said to this devotee, if you just chant one mantra with full attention, you'll achieve love of God. How many mantras have we chanted? A lot of mantras. But it has to do with a saying, it's a teaching from the Bhagavatam. Once having tasted, it's Canto 1, Chapter 13, having once tasted the rasa of that relationship with Krishna, one can never depart from that position. So it's a genuine experience, and the genuine experience does continue, but it doesn't. Then there's no slackening or complacency or distract. It's very strong. It stays strong because there's nothing else that compares to it, and it's kind of like an addiction. Pure devotion is a kind of addiction. You can't get enough of it. But it's like people that have a material addiction. The material addiction is a reflection of the spiritual one. It's a perverted reflection of the spiritual one. And once the spiritual one is established, one never departs. So how do we get there? Now, there's some messages that I showed you earlier. We regarded them earlier, so it's a little bit repeat, but that's fine. To chant or to serve from the heart, we need to align our consciousness with the heart of bhakti. Bhakti is the power or the strength to reach our destination. So then, same, what's at the heart of bhakti? There's super soul, that's at the heart of the heart of the heart. Then there's the activities, 9 processes of bhakti. So there's things that you do, and then there's the object of those things that you do. And then there's the intention to please, the intention, Sankalpa, the intention that Krishna is to be pleased. Anukulyena Krishnanu Shilanam. This is just Rupa Goswami's definition of bhakti in a picture. It's a nice picture. And somebody that did this, I didn't do these graphics. Somebody did the graphic. They like hearts. So it's hearts everywhere. And what's at the heart of carefully chanting? Bhakti. And that's the key. The intention to please Krishna. That's at the heart of carefully chanting. Once we reawaken our inherent intention to please Krishna, inherent intention means Krishna prema is already with us. It's already us. Nitya Siddha Krishna prema sadhya kabunoi shavadadi shuddhachite karayayudoi Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's teaching. Krishna prema is already there. As the soul is there, the soul has its nature in its purified state. Krishna prema is that purified state. And it's eternally situated, covered, but eternally situated. So then there's the removing of the covering and the reawakening of Krishna prema in stages. That reawakening is sadhana. But it's already there. Sadhana is restoring or reawakening that which is already there. So when we reawaken our inherent intention to please Krishna, we can carry out our actions from the platform of the heart. Now, practically speaking, looking around the room, there's a few people that aren't brahmacharis and sannyasis in the room. And those people that are not brahmacharis or sannyasis often have worldly duties. And it doesn't have to be a job, going to an office. It can be taking care of duties in the home. You know, the housewife or the household duties. And, you know, it's a common question. How to maintain Krishna consciousness while dealing with stuff, the worldly stuff. And then, you know, comes other words like, how do you balance? I'm just sharing. I don't like that word, balance, because balance means you've been, those of you who've been heard from me, you know what I'm going to say. I call it the two-pocket program. Krishna, Krishna, me, me. Me, me, Krishna, Krishna. How do I balance between me and Krishna? Sorry, that's the wrong picture. It's Krishna, 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 hey. Krishna, 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 hey. Rama Raghava, Rama Raghava, Rama Raghava, Rakshamam, Krishna Keshava, Krishna Keshava, Krishna Keshava, Pahimam. One pocket program. So, moving about the material world, doing stuff, you spiritualize stuff by the Krishna consciousness that you carry. Easier said than done, but that's life. It's devotional life. And the most effective method of getting to that consciousness is chanting. Chanting, to repeat something said earlier, because it's what I'm going to be speaking on this afternoon. Implicit is Harikatha. Chanting is explicit. And along with chanting goes Harikatha. Without Harikatha, chanting is a little risky or quite easily misdirected. But with Harikatha, then at least the opportunity is there, proper direction. The primary action necessary to become closer to Krishna is chanting the holy name. Now, that's not a new teaching. We've all heard the same teaching. That's why we're here for the Japa retreat. In our loving relationship with Krishna, we strive to carry out our actions from a place of love, not merely on a platform or basis of duty. Now, Prabhupada is going to say the same thing. I hope technology works, because it works on my computer, but I don't know how it's going to broadcast. Let's see what happens. But this is a little video. You see vanipedia.org. And if technology cooperates, you'll hear Prabhupada speaking about chanting every name with love. Well, it's not working. Huh? You can hear? Well, whiz kids want to try their wizardry and show everybody. Humbly, of course. You know your brother. I do too.
Simply, if you are engaged in Krishna's business, Priti Purvam, with love, not happening. Here is a duty, chanting of Hare Krishna. Not like, with Priti, with love, chant every name, Hare Krishna. And here is Krishna, here is Radha. That kind of chant, quality. Not Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Nala. Not like Priti. Tesham satadajuttanam bhajatang priti. That priti is required. That is the essential quality. Patram puspam phalam poyam chumi bhaktya prajachati. Real thing is bhakti. Krishna is not hungry that he will give him some good food and he will eat it. Never mind in which way he can give.
Let's do it again. Go right back to the beginning.
Simply, if you are engaged in Krishna's business, Priti Purvam, with love, not as hackney. Here is a duty, chanting of Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Not like, with Priti, with love, chant every name, Hare Krishna. And here is Krishna, here is Radha. That kind of chant, quality. Not Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Nala. Not like Priti. Tesham satadajuttanam bhajatang priti. That priti is required. That is the essential quality. Patram puspam phalam poyam chumi bhaktya prajachati. Real thing is bhakti. Krishna is not hungry that he will give him some good food and he will eat it. Never mind in which way he can give.
And here comes Manani Radha's question answered. Remember your question. Is she here? Manani Radha, are you here? She stayed in her room. Online. Oh. Okay. Manani Radha, in her absence, she, asked a few questions pursuing the same question. And that is, while there's this awesomeness of chanting, that's not what my experience is. How come? Something like that. We are not able to call out the holy name with complete attention and surrender because we have false shelters. This has everything to do with Sharanagati. To accept Krishna's shelter, you have to let go of the others' shelters. Just like, in my left hand here, I'm holding the slide changer. And supposing I wanted some water, I guess I could reach it with my right hand. But if I'm holding on to something, I can't grab something else unless I let go of the something I'm holding on to. Unless you're a magician or you can do both, I don't know. But characteristically, you let go, it's part of accepting. And accepting requires letting go. Those that can't let go of habits and material affinity for matter, they can't let go, or they don't want to let go, or they don't let go, then they can't feelingly, with full attention and surrender, take shelter, because there's false shelters. In order to accept our true and original shelter, we need to let go of the false and impermanent ones. Now, this is the same image 3 times. There's Krishna at the top of the tree. Taking shelter in sadhana practice, all 6 of these limbs, and comparing to taking shelter at the sadhya stage, the stage of perfection. How are they different? Are they different? And this is from Bhaktivinoda Thakur's article on this topic, but he takes this phrase, akinchanatvam. Now, many of you know. Tvam, it means having the characteristic of, or somethingness. Tvam. And akinchana, having no other shelter. I possess nothing which I view as my shelter. And then it sounds very similar, but it's not. It's just the flip side. Ananya gatitvam. Since I have nowhere else to go to take shelter, I fully repose my shelter taking spirit in the Sharanya, the person giving me shelter. So I have no other shelter, you're the only shelter. Squeaky clean. Akinchanatvam ananyagatitvam. Nice Sanskrit phrase. I have no other shelter, you're my only shelter. Practice, so this is the sadhana stage, practice of devotional service will help awaken God consciousness in proportion to one's sincerity of purpose. Remember the word purpose from the very beginning. Very beginning. And that shelter taking with particular purpose of achieving God consciousness or awakening God consciousness or achieving the goal, being connected to Krishna once again with nothing else distracting but just that one thing. It's a journey. It's an ongoing journey. And the most effective means to go forward on that journey is chanting. Once we let go of false shelters and our mind, senses, and emotions are directed by a single purpose, so that's this alignment message that we spoke of earlier. The intention to please Krishna, that's the singular purpose. Anukulyena Krishna Anushilanam, the heart of bhakti. We can call out to the holy name from the core of our heart. And the last slide, this fellow is paying obeisances to the holy name. When we offer our soul, our very self, at the lotus feet of the holy name, in a mood of complete surrender, inattentive and mechanical chanting will cease. Yay! How many would like inattentive and mechanical chanting to cease? Raise your hand. I see some people didn't raise their hand. Especially in our Chinese audience because they didn't understand English. But once they understood so it's if you're striving to be attentive, you'll understand how inattentive. If you're not striving to be attentive, it can go on indefinitely. Many, 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 many inattentive, not making an effort to be attentive. But as we make effort to be attentive, become painfully aware of how I'm not there yet. Because then the affinity for something else, or placing one's faith in something else, or combination of something else's, or the conceptions that we carry, and the mind goes with those conceptions and so forth. So that's it for this shorter class. And the intention of taking shelter. So this is a teaching that in different ways to repeat. Bhaktivinoda Thakur took this message and kind of, as Prabhupada would often do, as I have said before, and then he'd repeat something that he said hundreds of times before. And repetition is sometimes necessary for clear understanding. And once that understanding is there, it's still an effort to stay on track, or stay in this phrase that I've been using as alignment with that purpose. So it takes some determination, takes steady practice, being very patient, at the same time being very determined while being very patient. And Krishna is seeing that for those of you that weren't with us for the Chinese national holiday, one of the main messages was total focus of Hanuman find Sita. And he met obstacles, and he overcame those obstacles, and he then made himself really small so he could travel around at night in Sri Lanka, not observed by anybody, and he couldn't find Sita. And he felt disappointed in himself, and then he became resolved again and searched again, couldn't find Sita. And then he went into this transcendental, not mundane, emotion of what are the consequences of not being able to find Sita. And, it wasn't a pretty picture. And he looked at it from different angles. And then he decided, no, I'll look again. But not just another effort, but he took the position of calling with prayers to his spiritual master and those who have given him powers to be able to achieve extraordinary things. And he was offering his respects to those personalities, and he was looking for descending mercy, in other words. And then all of a sudden, a light went on. Hey, there's a place I haven't looked. And he scurried off to look cautiously because he doesn't want to be noticed. And then the whole series of other things happened. He saw a lady, maybe that's her. There's others, but the main message I wanted to say was effort and mercy. So the intention of taking shelter is in addition to effort from our side, there's the mercy on the other side. Take shelter of place, that there's a place of shelter, there's a person on the other side. And the person on the other side will see the sincerity of purpose for taking shelter, not just a fruitive, but the purpose of taking shelter. And that's the relationship, the servitor and the served, and the relationship, sambandha, as Maharaj has been nicely explaining. And then knowing so, then behaving accordingly, avideya. And then the experience of that relationship, prayojana. And bhakti in general follows those standards. The Vedas follow that standard. Chanting can also follow that standard. Overcome complacency and distraction and mechanical chanting. Effort and mercy. So let's see if there's some discussion. Yes, and again, welcome those of you that just arrived from different locations.
Hare Krishna Guru. Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj. Thank you for conducting the yatra. It's life savior.
Turn the volume down a little bit. Thank you. Go ahead.
So my question is regarding chanting. So you talked about the importance of intentions or prayerful mood. So in the famous purport of Prabhupada on Hare Krishna mantra, he says in a simple, efficient way that it is engage me in the service, O Lord.
It's what?
And engage me in your service, O Lord. In the purport of Hare Krishna Mahamantra, Prabhupada says.
Okay.
So Bhakti Vinod Thakur also has given a one-page meaning of mantra where he starts with that, O Lord, free me from the material modes, and going all the way up to, please help me enter into Vrindavan, something like that. So as one progresses, this intention and prayerful mood, they gets refined further. That's my question.
Say the question one more time.
Yeah. So as one,
Not the whole thing, just a question.
as one progresses, the intention or prayer while chanting Hare Krishna, does it get refined and more purer and purer?
That's a question.
Yeah.
There may be many, as one progresses, many manifestations. And it's not like this acharya's got it and that acharya isn't there yet or something like that. There are different moods because Krishna is everything and we're tiny, but the relationship, the sense of connectivity with that relationship and the means to make that relationship more refined, more strong. There's different strains and moods and approaches, and even within one individual, what to speak of between individuals. So it's not like a correct answer, or there's only one thing and then it just becomes more, this one thing becomes more mature. There are varieties of moods. Naturally so. One, we're all individual. Two, rasa is something that's not stagnant. All right? Does that answer your question? Yes. Okay. I'm looking at Ananta Shesha. You usually have fantastic questions. I knew it.
I have a
You didn't even have to raise your hand. I could see it on your forehead.
I was more of a comment, and then see if you have a comment on it. I was so on this topic of taking shelter, one of your slides, you mentioned that we're not able to focus on the holy name because we have false shelters.
Yeah.
In Nrsimha Maharaj's class, he was talking about the anarthas, and one of them is asat trishna.
Yes, that's one.
Somehow, there seems to be a correlation between false shelters and asat trishna.
Of course, it's more than correlation.
The reason
Different language of the same thing.
and I'm, at least for myself, the word shelter, it became clear now because the word shelter has the connotation of safety.
Yes.
But most of the time, when we are in a safe environment, in a japa retreat, something like this, taking shelter, there's nothing dangerous that I'm taking shelter of, because many times when there is a dangerous situation, we all tend to take shelter of Krishna.
Krishna.
But otherwise, that calling out feelingly doesn't happen. So I was thinking...
That's for conditioned souls like you and me. But those that aren't conditioned souls, they're not like you and me. They're feelingly calling in any circumstance. It may very well intensify in difficulty. And that's Krishna's plan. That's not teasing, it's Krishna's kindness to help that person, that individual, intensify.
And if I think outside of safety, from an Asat Trishna perspective, there is anticipation of getting happiness from something other than the holy name.
That's correct. You have correctly understood, and you said it very nicely. That's Asat Trishna, same thing. False shelter, same thing. Same thing. Someone over here. Who was that someone that had their hand up? Okay, Sri Radhika.
Guru Maharaj, it is my understanding that the mind is situated in the region of the heart. Is that correct?
Why do you say that?
So the question arose from the slide that had the man walking a tightrope,
Yeah.
and he was...
The head and the heart.
Yes, so there's the brain and the heart.
Okay.
And the point was, sometimes we act from the platform of the mind, and sometimes we act from the platform of the heart. And I'm wondering, when we say that we want to act from the platform of the heart, if that includes the spiritual mind, because...
Yeah. Now, nomenclature, similar to my response to Ananta Shesh. Nomenclature can vary from one context to the next by the same person. Between persons, language may vary. So to nail down the first part of your question is the mind in the region of the heart. That was the first part of your question. And then what's the heart? No. So then you go into definitions of things. Commonly, the heart is thought of as a place of feeling. And then a function of the mind, thinking, feeling, willing. Thinking, feeling, willing in sequence. Thinking, you contemplate objects. Feeling in relation to that object that you're contemplating. And then willing, to do something in relation to that. It's a lot like your topic, empathic communication. There's a feeling of empathy. There may be, and if there is, then how do you communicate appropriately for circumstances to circumstance? So that's a function of the mind, and then you can go back and forth. Is it a function of the mind or is it a function of the heart? Then it's language. And how are these two separate or related? Or what do they mean? So then you can say separate or not separate. They're identical. So language, and it's going to vary. So I could say something. I was saying something during the Chinese national holiday. I don't mind saying it again. But that's a way of describing, and someone else may describe differently, and quite okay. Doesn't mean if they're right, then I'm wrong, and if I'm right, then they're wrong, and there are different ways of describing. No, so the essence is not exactly where is the mind in the heart, or are they identical? It's not exactly what you want to know. Say again? Give her the microphone, so she can say. Now, having muddied the waters, you can make it clear.
Guru Maharaj, you answered my question. You answered my question. My doubt was related to acting from the platform of the heart seems to include the spiritualized mind.
Yes, yes. Now, a little on the topic of Chaita. Chaita Darpana Marjanam. So during the Chinese national holiday, we discussed this word Chaita in different different angles of vision. And one of them is the conception of self. So there's true ego, and then there's not true ego or false ego. And the false ego covers the true ego. So from the heart means true ego, the true self, the spiritual mind. So then the differentiation has to do with function, not hierarchy. And the material side, there's a hierarchy. The senses are superior to dull matter. The mind is superior to the senses. Intelligence. So there's a hierarchy. That soul is superior to all of them. But when that's on the material, so on the spiritual side, there are functions, but not the same kind of hierarchy. Because everything is attracted to Krishna on the spiritual plane. The spiritual ego, the spiritual mind, spiritual intelligence, spiritual emotions, spiritual choices. There's alignment. So there's function, but therefore there's also a spiritual mind. It's a function, but it's not so much differentiated. So the heart and the mind, the spiritual mind is the heart, as you're saying. Because that's on the spiritual plane. Then someone else can come along and say, well, not exactly, it's more like this, and it's okay. And, not quibble about terminology. Okay.
I just read her question in AI translation.
Okay.
So what you just said about transcending the 3 stages of distraction?
I'm having a hard time hearing.
What you just said about transcending the 3 stages of distraction, I feel that my issue is a lack of confidence.
Lack of confidence?
Yeah, not believing in myself.
Not having confidence in herself.
Yeah, not believing in myself. So perhaps I have been giving myself too many negative suggestions, telling myself like my recitation are unfocused, that I am not doing well, and that I need to correct myself. It seems like I have, I don't know how this. What's this?
Pigeonholed
Myself into this state, unable to break through. My question is, how can I provide myself
How
with
can
a
I
higher?
do what? You just read.
How can I provide myself with a higher, more positive guidance?
Guidance.
Yes.
You have the answer. Guru Sadhu Shastra. Is that what did you know those three? Guru, Sadhu, Shastra. You know those three? And that's the guidance, the light that guides you towards away from darkness and into transcendence.
我们都在 Guru Sadhu Shastra 都在做，然后每天的念诵，就自己给到自己的暗示，就怎么样在每天的念诵当中给予自己一些积极的正向的指导。
So she basically said, so every day we actually feels we're doing this sadhu sangha sastri.
Is there
And
anything what? Sorry?
So
Say it
every
again.
day, like we are doing this sadhu
Yeah.
sangha sastri, and every day I'm chanting,
Good.
but I always felt my chanting is not good. So I'm keeping telling myself my chanting is not good. So how can I improve?
Well, so don't beat yourself up.
怎样
Start with
自己给自己得到一些正向的、积极的暗示，让自己没那么差，自己可以做得更好。
Just how to lift myself, like don't self criticize and or have the positive energy into myself, and then I can do better.
Sri Radhika teaches a course on this. Do you know who she is? Make her acquaintance. And one of her students is sitting right next to you. Jai Radha. So I could give an answer, but then there's a whole seminar and a series of like support to get out of that space that says I'm not good enough, as opposed to a spiritual conception that says I'm accepting of where I am, and there are resources that I'm in contact with, and they're very kind, and that connection can help me get out of my negativity zone into taking responsibility and moving forward. So it's not Sri Radhika's got the silver bullet and you just need the silver bullet. There's many angles to move forward with, but what she has developed is something that's systematic and step by step. If someone gets on board, they can go step by step. Another approach, I'm reluctant to say it, but I'll say it. I made mention in one class with the Chinese devotees that something that I have done in the West at universities is, and not only that venue, other venues, is overcoming negative emotion, because what you described is one of many negative emotions, and one can get stuck in that emotion. And your wheels spin and you don't go forward because you're stuck. And you try this and you try that and you're still stuck. And you throw your hands up in the air and say, I'm stuck. So that negative emotion place is like a prison. And there's teaching that says you're the cruel jailer as well as the cruel prisoner, or the victim prisoner. You have the key to get out of jail. And then what's that key? And then, there are many answers to that question, but the principle is don't identify with the mind. If you don't identify with the mind, then what do you identify with? You identify with Guru Sadhu Shastra, and you take shelter there. And with how? That came from you? Who said how? Huh? Oh, just coughed. Okay. Oh, okay. Okay. So, a short answer, Sadhu Sangha. I don't know if you noticed it, but I certainly noticed it. It was directly in what Nishinga Maharaj said this morning. He didn't use the flashcard. That's what I do. But he said it more than once. Imperative is Sadhu Sangha. So, Vraja, find the Sangha that's not stuck and that can hold your hand, put their arm around your shoulder, and have you feel reassured you're okay. You're more than okay. You're devotee of Krishna, and by definitions that Maharaj was speaking this morning, what is sadhu? And so I'm not there yet, but I'm so you find sadhus who you feel they're wholesome, and through that sadhu sangha, they will help you get the courage to not feel discouraged and keep striving and little steps heading in the right direction. You have a lot of asset, but you're putting yourself down unnecessarily from your words regularly, repeatedly, and that's you're stuck. You don't have to be stuck. Be patient, but don't be stuck. And to get unstuck, sadhu sangha. I made a promise to some devotees in Beijing that when I make a visit, assuming I make a visit sometime this year, assuming I make a visit, I have an idea, assuming it happens, I'll be giving a little mini seminar on overcoming negative emotions. Yay! I've done it many, many times in the West, and now Manani Radha, who's upstairs translating, she'll translate the presentation so I can do it in Chinese, and she'll inform you when I'm doing it, so you can come or hear it Zoom, record it or whatever. And it's just simple. One of the slides shows this guy holding on to jail cell bars. He's got a suit on, he's got a tie, and he looks really distressed. He's in jail. And then the next slide is a lady that deals with people that feel like that. And she says, the person who's in jail, they're both the cruel jailer and the person in jail. They have the key to get themselves out. But they're stuck, feeling I'm in prison, when they have the key to get out. So you have the key to get out, and that's sadhu sangha, the Guru Sadhu Shastra. Not just, I'm speaking on this point because it's not just you, there's a lot of people that feel the same. It can be spoken of in different ways, like, how many years have I been chanting, and have I really progressed? Or I was chanting for a while, and then something, 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 health or career or something, something, and I got distracted. I had some small children, and my sadhana took a vacation, and it hasn't come back yet. What do I do? So, there's different people with that emotion, feeling that emotion from different angles, different causes. There's a lot of people, a lot of devotees. And, how many years of just the same kind of chanting is it going to take? Will the bell ring if I just keep doing the same? If not, what to do? Which is what your question is. I mean, not framed the same way, but I'm stuck. And how do I get unstuck? So I'm spending time because it's kind of a pervasive phenomena. Sadhu Sangha. Okay. Look at this. It's 20 minutes to 12. We're supposed to go till we have the maximum we can go to is 12. There's a hand up over here.
Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj. So I have two questions. Maharaj, two questions. Yeah.
Okay.
You were talking about the duties. So as grihasthas, we are always occupied with so much planning and everything. Even while the other day Prabhu was showing, you have to focus on the deities like garlands and everything. How so even if I like while chanting, if I see the garlands, my focus is on how intricate details are there and how to make that garland. So always like fill up with so much planning at the background even while chanting.
Two things. He wants to take the microphone, but she has another question. So, two things. Time management. And then if you make the mistake of planning while you're chanting, that's a mistake. When chanting, one thing. When garland making and planning your garland making, that's another time. And not just garland making, it's, cooking and shopping and thising and thating. It's a little bit like what Maharaj was describing about chanting while driving. You can chant while driving, but not your 16 rounds. When you can chant Kirtaniya Sadahari, but your prescribed chanting is, and it's time management. And why? Well, that's a good question. Why? Why is a good, very important question that for you to ask yourself and each of us to ask ourselves. What's pleasing to Krishna? That's like bhakti. Because so it's important. Pleasing Krishna is important. Is there something more important? So if there's nothing more important, that's most important. So then there are many other things that are also pleasing to Krishna. And you do those, it's time management. And then when you're doing that, which the next thing, you're fully present. And you're doing the next thing, you're fully present. And the practice of being fully present starts with the holy name. So it's time management. And according to each time, supposing you're studying scripture, your mind can wander all over the universe. Supposing you're addressing the deity, your mind can wander all over. Here's, I may have said this, but I'll say it primarily for Nrsimha Maharaj's sake. Something that I learned like 100 times over. In deity worship, there's two most important things: cleanliness and punctuality. I learned a third one from Prabhupada. From Jamuna said, Prabhupada told her, it's presence. Cleanliness, punctuality, and being present with the deity. Because you can be clean and punctual and out to lunch. Presence. So, presence while doing each thing. Do you have deities at home? Yeah. So, again, like Maharaj was saying, you invite a guest to your home, and then you're looking out the window and playing with your cell phone while your guest is there. What's that? It's disrespectful. So call and be present as you're calling, and he'll be there. He is there. But a boss feature or Shuddha feature, depending on how attentive you are to that relationship. And otherwise, it's offensive. Your second question.
So Maharaj, Narsingha Maharaj was talking about yesterday, like desires.
About which?
Desires. Desires. We have desires, and then we have to desires.
Desire?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Desires. Most of the time, it's very hard to discriminate between
Very
desires.
hard to do what?
Discriminate between desires and duties.
Desire and duties?
Yeah. Discriminate.
Okay. So you want to know the discerning factor?
Yes, Guru Maharaj.
Guru Sadhu Shastra. Are you married? Huh? Ask your husband. Or you have a good friend who's a wholesome person, and submit your question to them, and they'll advise you wisely. Unless they're a controlling type of person, but that's not the one you want to go to. You want to go to someone who's not the controlling type. They're the wise type, the wholesome type. So if you're having trouble discerning, that's an intelligence factor, this from that. Supersoul gives intelligence, and then through good association, you can highlight the discerning capacity. Your intelligence can become stronger. Your connection with Krishna can become stronger, and therefore your discerning factor can become stronger. I mean, Nrsimha Maharaj gave some very nice examples of some lessons that Prabhupada gave about, conduct and, being, how to respond to different situations. And by example, he taught, and they're very important lessons. There's one devotee in this room. I won't mention the name of this one devotee in this room, but they've developed a very strong, you pay attention, very strong affinity for becoming familiar with books by Prabhupada disciples that they interacted intimately with him, and then they have story after story after story, and so you can understand the context as well as the little story, and then understand the pure devotee and how he would advise or advised in situations like this question that you're asking. And that's your best friend, along with your other good friends, wholesome friends, and the pure devotee good friend. And the connection can be made by understanding how he did what he did with different devotees in different circumstances. Okay. Yes.
顶白古马哈拉吉，我有一个问题，就是我们在谈到放手，虚假的庇护的时候，我们有谈到说我们要在内心深处去寻求Krishna的庇护，但是我们通常在修习的时候都说我们只是为了取悦Krishna，没有任何的其他的这种欲求，所以我现在有点困惑的是说，那我在修习的过程中，我是只是取悦Krishna这个意愿，然后去做奉爱服务，还是说我是为了寻求Krishna的庇护，让Krishna保护我，我才去取悦Krishna，然后去做这个奉爱服务呢？这个就让我有点困惑，希望玛哈拉吉能够解释一下。现场谁能帮我翻译一下吗？
Okay, you were talking about we should give up our false shelter.
False shelter, right?
Yeah, so we should give up the false shelter, take a shelter of Krishna. So my concern is like when I'm doing service, should I just because I want to have the mercy, or so I take a shelter, or I just take a shelter and do service. So I'm just a little bit confused. Basically, like I do things for my own purpose because I want to achieve, get something. So from Krishna, so I take a shelter, or I just take a shelter.
She's shaking her head no.
不是吗？啊哈，你说慢点。
It's a negotiation.
She feels it's very conflicting. Taking the shelter, seeking the shelter of Krishna and pleasing Krishna. She feels these two things are conflicting.
No.
Yeah, she felt like doing devotional service should be only pleasing Krishna instead of, having any other motives. That's her question.
Okay. You understand English? You understand a little English, yes? Okay, I'll speak slowly. Go back, look at those 6 limbs of surrender, and it's not wanting something from Krishna, and that's the essence of taking shelter. Go back to Ananta Shesha's question. Taking shelter implies safety. The first 2, that which is favorable for pleasing Krishna, yes. That which is not favorable for pleasing Krishna, complete rejection. Krishna will protect, Krishna will maintain, surrender everything to Krishna, humility. There's nothing in those 6 items of surrender or limbs of surrender that says, what's in it for me? It's a statement of taking shelter. And the shelter is being extended to you, to us, to any one of us. And just say, yes, you are my shelter. Now, we had that little discussion about the distinction between taking shelter in the sadhana stage and taking shelter in the perfect stage. And the perfect stage is, I have no other shelter. You're my only shelter. But supposing I'm not there yet, I'm not at the perfect stage, I'm at the sadhana stage. So you cultivate the principle so that you get to the goal. And it's like, I mean, I'm sorry. One of my experiences in traveling in China is riding trains. And I'll share with you, it's very confusing. Train stations have a zillion people running in all directions, and I don't understand what's going on. But I'm with somebody that knows what's going on, and they know which train to get on because it gets to which destination. So when you get on the right train, you're going to get to the destination. Unless there's a train wreck, but that's not so often. So know what the destination is, the Sharanagati destination. Know what it is. And then you cultivate, and then you reach the destination. Assuming Krishna's mercy continues, and you're continuing to extend yourself with the right mood. But it's not getting something from him. It's a place of safety. It's a place of safety. And then you can be like a little child in the lap of mother, and you're safe. Here's Prabhupada's example. I like this example. A little child holding the hand of his father. That's father's up there. And here comes a big dog. Woof, 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 showing his teeth. And the child is peaceful because my father will protect me. Now, if the child doesn't have that same sense of safety and cry and, jump up in his father's arms and save me, but otherwise, there's nothing to be afraid of. Fear arises from absorption in the bodily conception. It's the Bhagavatam verse. Viniveshi syat. So, surrender means let me take shelter of that which is the place of safety. In the spiritual conception, it's the place of safety. And it's not, I do this so I can get that. I'm cultivating a relationship. And there's symptoms, 6 limbs of that cultivating of that relationship. And it's a relationship of love, ultimately of love. Not just, someone may be, I want protection, I want maintenance. Those are 2 of the 6. I have a tendency to become angry, and I want to become humble instead of angry. So I want to get something. So one may start with that spirit. But that's an immature stage or covered stage that can lead to the stage of perfection. Okay, I think I'm going to end because of time.
She has a following up question.
You have a follow-up question. She does. She's okay.
Just to confirm something.
Okay.
所以归入曼哈拉吉，我们就真正的脱避亏师那莲花子，在纯粹的情况下，其实意思是把自己完全的交给亏师那，臣服亏师那，不带任何的这种意图。然后在我们不洁净阶段，我们可能认为寻求亏师那的庇护就是寻求亏师那的保护，我们是带有一定的不洁净的这种意图的，是这个意思吧？我再去。
So completely taking the shelter of the lotus feet of Krishna means giving ourselves completely to Krishna. But in the impure stage, we feel taking the shelter of Krishna means like seeking protection, or a little bit like a fruitive mentality, some sort of exchange.
It's unavoidable. When you're under a cloud and you're looking at the sun, you see the cloud. You see the sun through the cloud, but you see the cloud because it's just being part of being covered. So you start with less than pure, and not but, and the intention is to get free from the covering of the cloud. And then there's the warmth and the brilliance and the clarity that comes from clear sunlight. I have confidence. This is faith. I have confidence I'll get there. That's an essential part of practice, of abhyasa. I'm going to get there. And it's not my effort. Krishna is very kind. I'll get there because he's very kind. Although I'm not qualified, he's very kind. And so I'm going to continue with that confidence. I'll get there because he's very kind. I'm going to end. Srila Prabhupada ki Gaur Premanandi.